Hey, listen, it's time to sound your Zelda alarms for 2018 as a new rumor puts A Link Between Worlds back center stage. What's going on, everybody? It's Zach from Switchforce. Gabe is here, and outside of that corny intro, we do have an interesting rumor that has been posted on Reddit, and we saw it first on Go Nintendo. They are saying that Nintendo PR reps are reaching out to select press members and asking for permission to use review quotes once again for The Legend of Zelda: A Link Between Worlds, which is a beautiful 3DS game from 2013, probably my favorite 3DS game of all time. And there's some more interesting information. So, Gabe, before I give you a chance to give me your take, I also want to point out that at one point, Grezzo, which is a studio, game developing studio that made the Ocarina of Time 3D port on 3DS, we're looking to hire someone with HD experience to help make a legend. So some different Reddit users have connected that listing from before with this new rumor and are thinking perhaps they could be porting this to Switch, or perhaps Grezzo is working on something for Ocarina of Time's 20th anniversary, or perhaps this is just a Nintendo Selects version of A Link Between Worlds, which is the simplest, most boring, but probably most likely outcome is that they're just looking to release a $20 version of this 3DS gem, but there is the potential for something on Switch.
And obviously, that's what we all want. A Link Between Worlds, phenomenal Zelda game, and since we are definitely not getting a Zelda game anytime soon, this is something that can carry us over until whatever next Zelda happens, because I do think maybe we get a smaller one before we get the next big one, but the game's a little bit older now. There was that listing that you had mentioned that, they're working on a remake for a Legend game. So that could, of course, mean an Ocarina thing since the anniversary is coming up. But I guess here's my question, Zach. Would you rather have an HD remake of Ocarina, or would you rather have A Link Between Worlds on Nintendo Switch?
Personally, I'd rather have A Link Between Worlds because I've played it less. I have played quite a bit of Ocarina of Time, including that 3DS port from Grezzo, which was a great port. It was a fantastic port. We can't complain about that, and I can't deny that it wasn't awesome. I just would rather have A Link Between Worlds. It's a more modern game. It plays faster. You get into it, and it delivers a more different experience than like Breath of the Wild. And I know that Breath of the Wild is an insanely unique Zelda, but Ocarina of Time is still of the structure of navigating a 3D world, whereas Link Between Worlds is the top-down 2D style that was popularized back in the OG NES and SNES days, and I would love to see something of that sort on the Switch.
I actually want to add a little bit more context here. I was reading this news story on EGM on this very subject. They said that on January 2nd, EGM got a request from publisher 505 Games asking for approval to use their quote on a review of Terraria, which was also announced for Switch. That game hasn't come out on Switch quite yet, but this is something that happens. Publishers do ask publications for permission, and we know Terraria is coming to Switch, and I'm not saying that because Nintendo asked for this, that it means that A Link Between Worlds is coming to Switch, but there is precedence for it, right? It's a thing that could happen. Like you, I believe that I think A Link Between Worlds is the one I prefer, but I honestly would be okay with either. I guess my question then becomes: are either of these big enough to fill out one of these blank months? We know that Nintendo last year putting something major out pretty much every month. Major in quotes because there was Pokken and other re-releases, but do you think this is big enough for that?
To cover a whole month of Switch?
Yeah, just for this. I mean, not a whole month of Switch, I guess, because there's going to be other releases. But again, Nintendo likes to put out one thing a month that's pretty big. Does this qualify for you?
I think if it's a cartridge-based release, then yes. I think if it's an eShop release, then no. Honestly, I think either. If there was to be an Ocarina of Time HD Switch port or a Link Between Worlds Switch port, I think that either of those would suffice. I mean, they released Pokken Tournament, which was a port of a far smaller seller than either of these two games, and I think that the Zelda name alone carries enough clout to definitely hold down a month, especially a smaller month, in the same vein, like I mentioned, that we got a couple ports. It's no Mario Kart, but at the same time, it is Zelda, and I think you would find a lot of players that didn't have a 3DS and therefore didn't play the 3D version of Ocarina of Time or the original version of A Link Between Worlds.
Either way, I hope one of these does come to Switch, whatever it is. Zelda needs to be on Switch as often as possible. I love the series. I love the Switch. It's a great way and great place to play. and it's gonna be exciting. I really hope it's not just a re-release and like a classic, like you mentioned, that is gonna be available for $20.
Yeah, the Nintendo Selects really does nothing for us. So we're crossing our fingers that is not what it is. Although, yes, $20 Zelda Link Between Worlds is a good get for 2018. Obviously, we hope it's something Switch related. Let us know what you think it might be in the comments down below. If you've got any sleuthing of your own, give us your take in the comments, and we will check those out. In the meantime, everybody, thanks so much for watching. Make sure to subscribe and stay up to date on all the latest and greatest from the Switch, including whatever this pans out to be. We'll keep you posted. And until that time, thanks again, have a fantastic day. For myself and Gabe, Switch Force out.